can
Canadian.
record and always cut out stuff that doesn't need to be there, but
There you go. I just started recording for you. I'll go
Perfect. I
ahead and
forgot
post them
about the
afterwards.
recording. Awesome.
Are any of you guys and gals involved in cooperatives at all, or have seen their effects in use?
how do you mean? Like there's co-ops, the old-fashioned co-ops that I'm a part of.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
like a grocery store co-op.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or worker co-ops.
Has anybody
Yeah.
been to a Winco?
A what?
Winco, it's a large grocery store chain here on the West Coast in the United States that is a co-op. It's worker directed. We actually take some of the things they do from their model and are trying to apply it in our little hybrid model that we're proposing businesses try to use. Like the workers voting in the managers instead of the founders and the people at top hiring the managers.
Oh, I could have used that when I was working for a grocery store.
Yeah, make the middle management structure beholden to the
Yeah.
workers. Solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the co-op, actually the co-op in Alberta, big grocery chain. You have a small ownership in it, but I don't believe there's
a customer
voting in
co-op.
there. Yeah, customer co-op. Yeah.
REI is like that too. Supposedly, I'm a little dubious on REI. They seem like they're just kind of using it more for marketing, but there are a lot of positive effects that you see within that store.
So why do you ask about the co-op?
Well, I've been seeing more and more how critical like the neighborhood scale is, and it's really where so much goes down. And so like this notion of neighborhood co-ops or just neighborhood cooperation, I think is how this gets done. And I was imagining there's people in the room who are directly involved in that, like T. Tefera at
Tigain?
Tigain. I hold an assumption that you're doing neighborhood level work, and neighborhood we can use loosely as like, a few hundred to a few thousand if you're really, depending on how you want to push it. But anyway, I was wondering if you're involved in that kind of thing.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure how can you explain to me your question.
Neighborhood level cooperation. Are you involved in that?
What we are trying to do is we have a neighborhood organization like sort of cooperative. It's a kind of risk sharing organization, mainly deals with funerals and with emergencies.
Wow.
And these are member funded organizations. Almost everyone, I think probably from what I have seen, about 5% they don't have the funds to pay, so they get the service freely. But about 95% of them pay equal amount, and they have volunteer leadership, and they have kind of modern bookkeeping system and all that. But they don't scale. They can't have more than 200, 300 people, because if they become big, then the problem of decentralization creeps in. So they split up. And
as it should be. I think that a lot of these models need to stay small, and the template is what scales.
Yes.
That's exactly it.
Forget turning into a big, huge superstore.
Oh.
Stay small, stay local.
Exchange.
I'm just starting to read Small is Beautiful by E.F. Schumacher. And so, the whole idea of this, things have to be big is better, is we have to start changing that in our mind, that no, forget the shift in scalability has to be, we can repeat things in a kind of a manufacturing type way, a template or a pattern, but keep those things small and local, and stop trying to take over the world or fix all the world's problems. Because even like this event, I'm looking at at, you know, Dylan's working on algae token, algae, the solution. Cole's working on sustainable ADA, the news stories. You have to remind me your name again, Pythagorean.
Chris.
Chris, okay, good. And Chris, you know, you've got your group going with, give me a second here. I know it's a campfire meetings.
Yep. Yeah.
Web3 for life.
At the guild.
What is it?
Well, there's the guild that does the campfires, and then there's Regenerating Sonora, which is doing the neighborhood community development stuff. So
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Tegain is working on a regenerative project with Tyler in Ethiopia. Keith is here. You got to remind me what you're doing. And David, you know, the education piece. It's like all of us are taking these little chunks and creating these solutions in our own little worlds. And together as a community, a bigger community, we're all part of these solutions, which is fantastic.
I would say the more important part of what we're doing too is the cooperative network piece, actually. And that is what's directly taking these patterns that we see all over the world in biology and in our own lives and applying those to organizations, which is like, you know, you don't scale up as a human by just getting bigger. You make more humans.
I hope
you make
not.
little versions of yourself and put them out there. And like, that's how we should be scaling everything. It's the same as the cells in our body. We don't just become one big cell. We have little things doing specific jobs and loosely networked together. That's an amazing way to scale a system. And
when I gain weight, I just say there's more of me to love. It's not something I want to do. It's not healthy for you. You know, if you think about the human body, it's not healthy for us to gain a lot of weight. It's not healthy for us to get really big in ourselves. And that, you know, nature must be telling us something. We have a sustainable limit, you know, a healthy, sustainable size that we need to be. What is it? Yeah.
So with like the cooperative network, what we're trying to do is like have a bunch of these little things like Little Fish, Cardano for Climate Change, and like a bunch of other groups participate in the core of it to provide these services for the members who are also going to be little tiny nodes on the system, all working together to quickly learn from each other and benefit each other. And hopefully, like, without becoming a monopoly, which is unhealthy and sustainable and destructive, have the benefits of having a large company, but for all these little ones. And like that's our idea of how to propagate that system that you're talking about, where it's like,
well, it's individual little circles with some sort of a representative in a bigger circle. These connections are really important. It's like that first slide that Newman showed, you know, that our intelligence, our group intelligence is broken because we're not connected. So if we can connect that intelligence and do this work, instead of me having to do absolutely everything everybody else is doing, which is not sustainable, it's not impactful.
Yeah, that's why it costs so much for small businesses too, because they have to try to do everything. They have to do their IT, their legal, their marketing, everything, and like start it up from scratch. And like they go through these learning processes when like we can just have people that are good at that do that. Compartmentalize things, and then, you know, Leslie's Diner can just make breakfast and stuff, and that's okay.
I have a burning question, and it just wants to come out. And the question is, what are the things that the people that you interact with need to know about blockchain-y related things that would make life easier? You know, like do people need a little one page that says what is a wallet? And does that need to be in a bunch of different languages? What languages do you need it in?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Those are things that like we can talk about right now if you want to, because we really desire to ensure that all of you people here have all the educational resources you need for people to participate in what you're doing. The everyday person, the person in your neighborhood should be able to just be like, oh, you know, I get it. Okay. So but we need to know what it is what people aren't getting, or like what the fundamentals are that are needed. And then that'll help us to know what things we can start to work on, you know?
Yeah. Where are those pain points? Where does the conversation come to a halt? What are the bottlenecks?
I personally think those things are just so important for like young people, especially like, because when I joined this space, like just navigating it and knowing like what was right, what was wrong is so hard. And like creating those resources, kind of having like a roadmap for someone to like navigate through the system or through the different systems, I feel like is super important.
Which ones if would have helped you along the way if they existed?
Just like some more structure instead of me like looking at a million different things. It's kind of hard to say
roadmap.
exactly. Yeah, like a roadmap, exactly. Yeah.
Have you guys
Well,
ever?
a roadmap that has different visuals too, you know.
That
There's
is-
different ways of learning things. Working on the course with James in Canvas, he's got a demo course. So I popped that in the Telegram there, the C4C Education Collaboration, just a bunch of different stuff going on in case you want to connect or add things or something you're finding about, just one of those little nodes you can drop pieces of information into. But, you know, going through this, he has a video presentation and he's trying to teach non-developers code. And I can do that for a little bit. And I notice I'm zoning out, I'm failing in myself. And the whole point of this course is to get feedback on learning styles and what it requires of it. And I realized I needed a visual, because exactly what you were saying, Cole, he was starting to talk about this connecting to this, to that, to that. And that's like playing a chess game. You don't remember the moves. At least
Good way to put it. Yeah.
I can't remember that many moves, you know, to get back to that. And if I had the visual, you know, some sort of representation, then I'm good to go. Because then that for some reason that gets kind of, I can see that in my brain again. So, you know, there's the auditory listening, the visual, and then the other thing was, okay, he's showing me code, but I have to do it with my hands. See, these hands are really dirty. I have to get in there and get in the dirt and actually practice it. I don't have his application, but I think I can do it on GitLab. I think I can actually find everything that I need as long as I have a link to that and to go actually practice it. So, you know, the content is irrelevant, actually, when you think about it, because content changes. You know, there's a new wallet out, there's a new way of doing this. It's the processes of the education, the things, the pieces, the templates that are really important. You know, having the video, having the visual, having the links, having the roadmap, all these other things. At least that's my humble opinion.
I had two things I wanted to say. One, we should talk to Gimbal Labs about getting some of that course content on the Blockchain Learning Center too, because having multiple places people can do that stuff would be great. And that'd be a great way for us to kind of collaborate more. We haven't been able to collaborate with Gimbal Labs very much.
I did put the link in the first demo course on this bounty thing that Gimbal Labs has done. Oh my goodness, you guys need to look at this idea of a bounty and an escrow. He's just doing the course, and it's so find it. If you can't find it, I'll repost it, but just go through it. It's the raw course, and we have this opportunity to help make it better, which is a really great system. Throw out the raw material, get your students to go through it, give you feedback, and maybe create something even better. We got to stop, like I'm doing it right now. We got to stop being that teacher on the pedestal feeding you stuff.
Yeah.
It's got to be much more interactive. I'm going to go on mute so you guys can talk.
Also, the Cardano like starter kits that James started like a long time ago, those are some really good resources too that could maybe be on the Blockchain Learning Center. So iteration for those.
And
he,
reach
has
out
those
to
right on the Gimbal
Lovelace.
website.
To
Yeah, that as
Lovelace
well.
too.
Is he the
Yeah.
one doing those? Is Lovelace the one doing that?
No, James, I think it was doing those, but I think Lovelace has their whole nother like tool to use that brings you through like what is a wallet, like
Oh,
what
that's
is a
amazing.
tool. I'll share the resource.
I'll talk to
find-
the both of them after this. And the other thing I wanted to say was actually a response to you, Cole. What you brought up was like, you know, you were trying to navigate, and like that was the hard part with getting into this.
Right.
So let me share something. This is something that helped me a lot as I'm a self-taught developer. I couldn't afford school, so I had to teach myself everything. And I found this this tool. This guy made an amazing like roadmap for front-end dev. So it tells you like what order you need to learn things in and which things you need to learn. And then it links out to like resources that you can use to learn those things. Would something like this for blockchain be helpful?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Kind of like brings you through each step and then like the different resources for each step and like the different ways you can do
Now,
it.
this is the visual a person needs, you know,
Mhm.
even if it's, you know, somebody just entering in the system, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, okay, I can check that off. Now
right.
I can't go on any further until I do this.
So we'll make one. We'll make a roadmap for entering the blockchain space for people. And we'll get that out like next week or something.
I think that sounds so amazing. And also I'd love to talk more about like the collaborative network or like take part in that or support in any way we can. I think that idea is amazing. So
yeah, and we're going to be looking for like that's kind of our in the future thing. We're trying to start some co-ops first and like gather interest and get a bunch of people that want to get involved. But this is going to be something that'll be run by the community. It's going to be collectively directed. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Dylan,
hyped.
Say that again, Chris.
I was just saying, Dylan, Afia, I was just calling to see if we got some other people who want to, you know, put their voices into the circle.
I was just going to say, hey, Afia, it's so nice to see you here. Even though I don't see you. And Keith, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Notice I have the name Professor Dalton. That was bestowed upon me. Woo! I am teaching a blockchain class in a platform called XIXI, which is Roman numerals for 1111. I remember when I first hooked up to Little Fish, there seemed to be always 11 people in the meetings that I went to. The universe leaves clues. And so what XIXI is a global platform for empowering people. It's all these different classes. They've got financial classes. Oh, and I happen to be dean of the financial department. That's happened.
Nice.
And
The dean.
Wow.
And so things are in motion here. You know, throw it out to the universe. And this platform is about self-empowerment. We've got mindset classes. We've got nutrition classes. We've got real estate classes, Forex classes. It's just the list goes on and on. We're adding more and more instructors. So this is a good fit.
Drop the link in the chat.
The link? Okay.
Yeah, drop the link in the chat. Is it free or is it paid education?
It's both. They have what they call premium, so you can go in on some of the free classes to encourage people to come on board.
Perfect.
There is the paid classes. This company's, well, I've been with them for about a year, and I think they're about a year and 6 months, and they've got a 3 to 5 year plan to go through this process. There's also a business aspect to this, which lends itself to multi-level marketing, which I am not a fan of. But imagine incorporating multi-level marketing with blockchain DeFi apps.
Uh-oh.
And they have a system that's super simple. You get 3 people, each one of those gets 3 people, et cetera, et cetera. And entry into this is $75 a month for the classes, all the classes you want to take. And if you apply the business, which you don't have to, you can come out with a degree and money in your pocket versus being in deep debt because you had to take out all these student loans. So the idea is really good. And it's like family, just like the Catalyst community. It's just, I think the universe kind of guides you along sometimes. And I don't think it's any accident that I ended up being involved in Catalyst. I want to do more, but at this point, I'm teaching this class, being involved as an instructor and then dean and stuff. They want you to be kind of present in a lot of their activities. And then I want to be present here. Plus, I have an 8 to 5 job during the week. So a lot to juggle, a lot to do, but I see changes in the future here. One of the things I'll throw out, and keep in mind, I may be dean of the financial department, but I'm not a financial advisor. One of the little known tokens I found that ties in with ADA is a token called ADA3L. And it's on BitTrue. There's other platforms. Very hard to find in the US, but you can find it if you look for the right platform. But it's tied to ADA. And what it does, it's a leverage token that 3x is basically what ADA does, but it seems to grow exponentially. And so I've got 1 million of those. And as ADA goes up, it's very inexpensive right now because of ADA being around 50 some odd cents. But imagine the growth. This particular token, when ADA was at $3, was like 7,900 per token.
Okay, I think we're getting way off topic, Keith.
So anyway,
I'm gonna just jump in. Bottom line,
it's helping me become financially independent so that I can participate more and more.
awesome.
And I want to be part of this and learn from this and incorporate what we're doing here and bring it to the kids, because the platform I'm in, we teach kids too. There's a kids aspect to that.
Fabulous. So
And that's our next.
sorry, I'm gonna just say, we got 5 minutes before our time's up and I'm gonna actually be leaving. Dylan, how are you holding out? I saw you come off mute and I thought maybe you might have something to say.
Yeah, I'm well. It's nearly 5 in the morning, but I'm still here. Not as lively as today's town hall, I'll tell you that much. But yeah.
Wow.
No, this is good. There's been some great showcases there, and it's good to see everyone. So yeah, there's a lot for me to look into and what everyone's doing, and how I can interact with those people. I mean, that's one great thing about all these meetings is meeting everyone and networking and seeing how we can support each other.
I start seeing a bounty system like what James is doing for research and for some of the material, the things that you're doing. You know, the Joe average person can't have access to the material and the scientific studies that you have. If we could work out something, that's what I see as, you know, taking these different topics like carbon drawdown and actually getting the facts, because there's so much crap out there. I'm really tired of it. But, you know, if there was some sort of a bounty suggested, you know, you find the research, provide it, becomes a course, becomes part of a course, a link, part of a map. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
anyways.
That's a good idea. And that way you have the resource to link upon, especially if it's categorized right. So you can go through and, like with the ocean cleanup, you know, or the water one, that's very interesting. I mean, we work so closely with a lot of water, and we do analytical testing constantly of our water samples and what we're using. You know, the different filtration methods, RO, everything involved. And being a chemical engineer, working closely with water, wastewater treatment and freshwater, agricultural water. There's so much involved in water. And that's just one tiny facet. So yeah, having a place to go where you could then look up, you know, journal articles that have been peer reviewed by scientists, and then use them as your source. Obviously, you know, universities and everything, we have links to those scientific journals, so we can search for those. But if it's all set out relatively for people so they can quickly find what's needed and what the best articles are, it would be very helpful. I agree on the bounty system. That's a good idea.
But even having a top level, you know, for somebody that just says, I'm kind of interested in this subject.
Yep.
You know, is it something that, oh man, I'm really excited about this? Just like Keith says, you know, that the universe sends us these little ideas, and it may be something, all these different subject matters that we're experts in, you know, if we can get those in some sort of a tiny course, just
On the Blockchain Learning Center?
yeah, exactly. Just a little touch of this carbon drawdown, regenerative agriculture, you know, water algae, all these different things, if we could just have this little piece.
Man.
And imagine a student going through this,
Yeah.
or Dylan, you going through the one on water and going, oh, I can make this course material much better because I have this view of it.
Mhm.
And then you come along and you take this and you make it better by adding your piece and your perspective. And then even T-Gain comes along and goes, I have an entirely different perspective, you know, because of where I've grown up and my upbringing. I'm going to just make this course even better, you know, and then it becomes our piece of information. Anyway.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Dylan, you're involved with the water project, right? Keeping track of.
No, I'm the CEO of Algae Token, or Algae Token, however you like to say it. So yeah, we are focusing on algae with its health benefits, nutrition, climate, and obviously there's fuel. There's so many benefits, but bringing that on chain. We just recently signed with a launch pad, so things will start sort of progressing in the manner that we expected. Yep.
Would you guys like to have an overview course of like what you're doing, why it's important, how you're using the blockchain and all that on the Blockchain Learning Center too? We're trying to get people excited about the potential for this technology.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because that gives us a chance to explain how we're doing this too and why we're onboarding onto the blockchain. Because you know we are a physical entity and we've got physical products, and we have all the science backing us, and we have all the layouts of how it's done commercially, but bringing that on to the blockchain for the people, and then combining that with the utilities. We need to look at, you know, when we can use smart contracts for quality control, supply chain management. There's so many things, governance, all of it. And there's all these people working on all those facets of things. Like there's, you know, your governance, people are just working on that. And then when there's a good system involved, like other people can just put those in. Yeah.
And then so like we could start with getting the online course about that to get people excited. But once we have this network of physical spaces that we can teach people into, we can set up physical demos of what you're working on as well to really show people how this works in a way that they can just casually interact with, and people that would never have interacted with blockchain otherwise. So we might be able to show a whole new audience what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
So many little pieces, so many modules and components that we could all work on, you know, that could just take us anywhere we want to go in the world, right? It's absolutely fabulous. So we are at the top of the hour. I'm going to skedaddle away. David, you're still recording.
Yes. Should we stop now? And
it's a community held space.
All right, I'll stay as long as since I'm the one recording, I'll stay as long as everyone's here.
I honestly do have to get going a little bit to finish some other tasks before the end of the day, but I'm down to speak and talk as long as you guys want to.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I'm going to say adios for now. I've got tomatoes to plant. So ciao for now, and see you soon, okay?
I'll see you later.
Melanie.
Bye.
Sounds like a lot of us do need to go, so it might be a good time to just wrap up. But I do want to make sure to touch base with a few people here. I'm going to post my Calendly link, and anybody who wants to like talk about stuff more, feel free to drop something on my calendar.
Yeah, I also just shared it with Raz, so we'll find a time sometime next week, hopefully that works well for the three of us, and we'll make that first conversation happen.
Perfect. All right.
Right on, everyone. It was great.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Great meeting all you guys. And yeah,
Bye.
look forward to seeing progress on your projects. And yeah, great conference. That was awesome.
Woo!
I love the love in this group. I love how all the themes are about helping people and making a better world. That's the kind of environment that I want to be in and that we want to create with everything that we're doing at these physical spaces and online.
That's awesome. Let's do it. Let's all collaborate and change the world together.
Later, everyone.
Later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.